course, yes, it's Tuesday, the 28th of August. Good to be back on Frontier Opening Bear. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am Bosin Omafai. Let's just a quick run through our first trading day of the week. Of course, technically we're on the third week of the month of August. So we're just cruising along, 1.36% haircut. Very deep dive for the Nigerian market on Monday. The market bucked, as we saw, sell off in the shares of Dangote Cement. That's the largest cement company. Dangote Sugar, that's the largest sugar company in Nigeria by market value, as well as Nigeria's largest brewer, Nigerian Breweries PLCs. Those three stocks in the consumer goods and industrial goods drag the markets out. Boa Cement, the second cement maker, made a positive gain. We saw the banking sector yesterday eked out a few gains. We saw a big deal, about 3 billion ordinary shares in Standard Insurance, which is a single day transaction out of the blues, just a big share transactions between the biggest shareholders in the insurance company. That did not move the needle, as it were. So that's where we finish off. We lost the 55 trillion naira market cap on Monday. Let's move on. BRVM better by 0.65% in Cote d'Ivoire. The Egyptian market started the week on Sunday with about 0.02% in the red. That got bigger by 0.5% on the EGX30 on Monday. The rest of the region were open Monday. The Casablanca stock market, that's the market in Morocco, was stronger by about 0.5%. The Nairobi stock market started off the week with about 1/10 of a percent on a back footing, while the GSE finished very strong, 1.18%. The after trade reports of a loss at the first half of the year by MTN Group did not affect the market. So we saw a very strong finishing line for the GSE, 83,799. Let's get on. Move it on. Let's see some headlines across the East African corridor. Let's start. The new cabinet of President Ruto was inaugurated on Monday, and the idea was to try and reintroduce some of those tax measures that resulted in those violent protests a couple of weeks ago, resulting in a number of fatalities. But we got some good news, however. Kenya Airways is reporting its first ever in 10 years, first half, January to June, profit, 513 million shillings. It's the Kenya Airways turning the corner despite its very heavy debt on its books. And of course, it's got some good news recently as well. Some folks are coming in to support Kenya Airways in terms of supporting the airport and the airline itself. But let's see how that move about. Some good news there that this iconic airline in East Africa and the entire African continent can use. Mivida Homes is looking for an approval from the Capital Markets Authority in Kenya, that's the SEC, to float a development real estate investment trust. The idea is to grab about 5 billion shillings from that investment trust paper that will be floated on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And DP World, as well as the UK's development finance institutions, are putting money together, billions of dollars, to build DR Congo's first deep sea port. That's going to be a big game changer for DR Congo when this project is completed. Let's move on to West Africa. Checking with Nigeria, the $500 million domestic dollar bond opened yesterday. 9.75% is the yield that you get on that. It's a 5-year paper that the government floated. Also on Monday, the monthly FGN bond auction in Naira by the debt office, roughly 190 billion Naira. 3 papers was reopened yesterday by the debt office. So quite a very active day on the market street there. In the meantime, the Southern African Development Community, the SADC, has nominated Zambian Dr. Memo as a candidate vying for the position of Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the current head of the AFDB, who will be leaving office at the end or sometime in 2025, at the end of a 2-term tenure, totaling 10 years. Nigeria's fuel subsidy here, there, but where Nigeria's National Oil Corporation yesterday reported a 3.3 trillion naira profit for full year 2023, just as the news came online that the president has approved that its dividend from NNPC last year be used to cover payment for subsidies for last year. So subsidy back in Nigeria, that's the big question. Some folks say it's not yet bad. The government is insisting. But now looks like subsidy is back. Fuel queues appearing across Nigeria, and fuel prices now as high as 1,000 Naira at the pumps in Nigeria's financial capital, Lagos. And that's where I live, by the way, just in case. Ghana has secured $2 billion funding for Cape Coast airports. That's some good news for Ghana. Of course, a similar funding was secured recently to support the main airports in Accra. Liberia's budget for 2024 has been slashed by 17 million US dollars. There's not enough money on the table, by the way. So you got to manage. Everyone's got to manage too. And the head of the APPO, the African Petroleum Producers Organization, the African version of OPEC, Dr. Umar Farouk, is heading to the Republic of Chad on Thursday, the 22nd of August, for a meeting with the country's energy oil minister. We'll get the details of that after their meeting. Let's get on to Southern Africa. Of course, the MTN reporting, the largest telecom carrier of the African continent, reporting its first half-year loss in 8 years since 2016. No thanks to Nigeria's currency devaluation. The Naira that fell sharply in the early of the year, although there are indications that there's a little bit of stability is coming around 1,650 the NAFEX window where we were, of course, yesterday. So right now, MTN's bleeding on the back of that. Let's see how things move on. ABSA's CEO, Rottenbach, is agreed to take an early retirement, just as ABSA, one of the largest banking name in South Africa, and entire Africa reports earnings that hit the storm in the first half of the year in South Africa, no thanks to the economy and politics. Thungela, the mining resources listed on the GSC's report in first half 2024, earnings down to 1.3 billion rands because coal prices were weak. And of course, you've got problems with Transnet in South Africa. Remember that logistics behemoth with all its troubles that resulted in delays of getting mineral resources moved from the mines to the seaport for exports and all of that. And that's what Thungela reports is hurting. Schweppes in Zimbabwe says it's going to invest about $28 million of its own money to get his own citrus and to contain his own supplies, as it were, not leaving that to third parties and the vagaries of the market, whatever it is. So, a middleman. So, that's the story, by the way, just a market announcement. And the FNB bank has appointed Lascelles Mouton as the sole chief investment officer, and that's in South Africa. You've been briefed. Let's get on to North Africa and let's get to check in a couple of headlines where Infinity Power and Mazda from the UAE have signed a 200 megawatts wind deal in Egypt. The chemical exports in the country surged about $4 billion in the first half, while Morocco's consumer price index was up 1.3% in the month of July. Algeria is supplying electricity to Lebanon because power had collapsed in the country over the last couple of days. And finally, Liquid Intelligence Technology and Globestar says they're delivering high-speed 5G network in Africa, in the Middle East, as well as the Gulf. And those are your headlines this Tuesday, the 20th of August. I am Busi Namafai. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you soon.